Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Elijah Matelson, who is going to be looking at posture and how do we protect our bodies for the long term in the work that we do. I have a lot of questions that I get submitted from folks who are listening around how do we protect our bodies. And I think that that's a good framework for conversation because typically people are worrying about like the mechanics of belaying, the mechanics of being outdoors, the mechanics of climbing. But what I really want to consider is how do we protect ourselves for the long term? The first question I have for you, Elijah, though, is, and this is kind of a broad one, but I'd love your stance on it, your definition. How would you define good posture?
Good posture. Thanks so much, Phil. Happy to be here. And I get questions like this a lot. I would say posture is a position, and the body moves in a lot of different positions throughout the day. And so, as a human in the world, I would define good posture as someone who's in the body, someone who can feel their body functioning at a high level, someone who is lessening their aches and pains, lessening their stiffness, someone who is waking up in the morning feeling prepared to handle the demands of their day, whether they're climbing, whether they're going into work for 5 hours sitting at a desk, whatever your life demands of you. Your posture, and because posture is so unique, it's just a position of everyone's body. Your posture is defined by how are you actually feeling in your body throughout the day.
I like this almost defining it as not strict on this is perfect, this is the goal, but like how do we make ourselves feel? Because my guess is, and I'm sure you'll be able to correct me or not, but like I'm assuming the feeling of the posture is also related to the mental side, the anxiety that we sometimes build into our bodies, and so all of those things are probably aligned. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I were to create a podcast for myself, I actually wanted to call it Posture of the Soul, talking about how your internal state, your emotional state can show on the outside, right? You know, someone going through grief or sadness, slouched over, someone who is strong, confident, excited, they're open. Their shoulders are back. They're actually what they're saying and what like for me in particular, when I'm feeling strong and powerful, I'm like receptive to the world in front of me. So my shoulders are back, my body is open. But when I want to be more closed in, more recluse, more introspective for the day, you tend to round forward or, thinking like this, shoulders forward, chin down, things like that nature. So yes, the body, and actually it's shown in studies that power postures, you think of physique competitors, bodybuilders, posing, things like this, it actually boosts testosterone. It actually boosts these feelings, these endorphins that we associate with strength and confidence when we actually get our arms up, for example, in a big double bicep pose and hold that position. It actually physiologically can make you feel more awake, more alive. So it just depends on how you want to feel for the day. But absolutely, the physical and the emotional are tied.
If we were to go back into your history a little bit, what was that defining point for you that said posture is the focal point for me? Like, what was there something that shifted in you, something that happened that you were like, okay, I need to really focus on this, and this is what other people also need to focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm someone who will not settle for less in my life personally. And at 16 or 17, I was on the marching band in high school, and I'm a drummer. And I would carry the big, large tenor drum my freshman year. I think I was 16. And all that weight is on the front side of the body. I was maybe 110 pounds at the time, soaking wet. I'm 6'3", a skinny frame, tall, lanky, and I'm asked to carry this big drum. And the coaches, the music coaches, they're not teaching us how to properly lift anything, but they will not let you drop it. It's like kind of drill sergeant-y. They're like, don't drop it. You got to march with it. And over time that weared on my spine. And so to relieve the pain, I would like lean back into like hyperextension at my lower back, which can put a lot of stress and strain on those lower discs. And so a whole semester of that, I wore away at my spine and posture. And right at the beginning though, I was like, man, why aren't you guys teaching us how to properly bend over and lift? I wasn't lifting myself at the time, but it just made sense to me. Like, why aren't we not learning this? And it's how I teach and coach today. It's like, as a human, as a busy adult, like, or as a college student, whoever you are, I feel like it's a prerequisite where we should all learn how to properly move for our body and how to properly pick things up, how to hinge over. And so I had a direct experience with posture from a young age because it wore away at my lower back and spine. And I ended up with a very severe lower back injury and hip labral injury. And I ended up in a physical therapist's office at the age of 16. Instead of after school going to play with my friends, I had to go to the PT's office. And that was a whole year doing that. And so I, the only way for me to not be in pain was to pay attention to my posture day in and day out because the physical therapist helped, but it wasn't enough. I had to take responsibility. And I was like, you know what? I need to get my body strong. I need to figure this out. And so posture for me, 17 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old, I started yoga. I started studying these different modalities of movement. My brother was a bodybuilder, so he was teaching me strength training at the gym. My dad was teaching me a little weightlifting here and there, some calisthenics. So I started strengthening my body. And for me, the pain would sometimes get worse before it got better. And it just required me to have to pay attention to my body, how I sat, how I stood. I would get up during class to stand at the back because I couldn't sit for too long because of my back pain. So I was like hyper focused on my posture from a young age because I had to. It was the only way for me to get out of pain because I did not want to settle for less. I wouldn't accept being in pain for the rest of my life. I said, no, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out the root cause of this. And that's what I did.
There are no doubt people listening to this who are hugely resonating, and I can tell you at least one because at the age of probably a little older, 18, 19, I ended up in PT. I've got deteriorated lower lumbar discs. The L3 to 5 are all deteriorated. I was a track athlete. And I used to, my way that I was impacting the ground, I wasn't taught in the same way that you were saying, like little things that weren't taught. And just the impact over time of just hitting the ground. I did cross country, so different surfaces. Eventually wore my lower back to a point where I was unable and had to retire from the sport because I just couldn't run. The impact was just too much on my lower back. I will be honest, I haven't had that same moment for me. I've been managing my back pain by not doing things. And I think about, and this is a kind of like, I feel the tie into the emotion. I've got a daughter and I spent a lot of time not being able to lift her or not being able to lift because when I lift, I'm feeling the discomfort in my lower back and I'm doing an active job. And so I always consider this, and this is partly why I wanted to talk to you because not only as I'm assuming listeners will benefit, but I'm also going to hopefully benefit from this experience too of saying like, what do I need to actually, what's the reframe that I need in my head to not go into management, but actually go to the point what you're saying, which is actually changing myself so I don't have to add this band-aid to a situation that I've kind of got myself into, and how am I not repairing it? So you talk about the intentionality around posture management. Is your recommendation, is it a daily mantra of just doing something like as if you would be brushing your teeth every day, like you should be focusing on posture? For you, how much of this takes up your brain power in terms of the focus and reminders of this? Like, what's the mental part to also having to do this? Because I know I'm not doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally hear you. And so many people feel the same way that you do. And it's like, and I've done that too. I've been there. A lot of people I've worked with, it's like, hey man, when you're when you're in pain, you just want the pain to stop. Sometimes you don't even care what you got to do to get it to stop. It's like, fine, manage the pain versus heal it. Fine. I just want it to go away. So many people are there and I totally get that. And it's a stage we all go through. I'm of the belief that we can move past that into that healing at the root cause, and really getting over this and leaving it behind you. And not everyone is going to experience that and feel that, though. Everyone's on their own journey, and some people have to just come to terms with it and then say, okay, if I have to live with a little bit of pain, that's okay. So everyone, hey, whoever you are, wherever you're at, totally cool. You get to decide that for yourself. For me, like I said, at first, it's a different way of living. It's a different way of looking at life. So you have to be more mindful of your positions throughout the day, like I'm saying. But my brand and my company and my app is called Embody. And so I'm all about being in the body. How embodied are we and grounded are we? And so it took me some time to get here where I'm standing up, every 45 minutes to an hour. If I am working at a desk all day, or I'm thinking about how I'm sitting, or my bed frame is a little bit more firm versus soft. There's all these things we can get into in this conversation about how we can start to optimize and our posture and our body and our resiliency. We'll talk about that. So it takes time, and it takes mindfulness, and it takes attention and awareness. But over time, you can start to develop these little daily wins. That's what we call it with people I've worked with is, yes, like you're saying, brushing your teeth. Can you make it a habit of right after you finish brushing your teeth, can you drop into a quick little mobility flow that takes a minute? Because if you just start developing that skill, I think of it as a skill, like learning the guitar or learning how to develop any skill. Think of your movement practice, your posture, your movement, your fitness, your mobility, whatever you want to call it, as you developing this skill. And so, posture, same thing, developing that skill of awareness, noticing this chair I'm sitting in is a little low to the floor. Huh. Just notice. Okay. Start to take account of your surroundings and your environment because that's what our body is. It responds to the environment that we put it in on a day to day basis. Everything is an input. Inputs are happening at all times around us. Our body is learning how to survive in the moment and keep us alive. And to sit in a chair, for example, after 30 minutes, maybe your glutes start to feel like they're asleep. That's because the muscles are shutting off to preserve energy, to keep you alive, to try to make that sitting position more efficient. Your body's all about efficiency, all about efficiency. It wants to help you not only survive, but thrive. And so it's all the time trying to optimize its surroundings and the inputs it's receiving. And so if you can just start to look at your day, start with your day, start with your morning. What are you doing in the morning? What are you actually asking your body to do in the morning? Maybe you're getting up, brushing your teeth, eating. That whole time, okay, you've been standing up, you've been walking. You have all these opportunities to do something for your posture, do something for your body, do something to help your connection of your feet touching the floor. While the coffee's brewing, you have a chance to drop into a lunge and to align your knee over your toe and hold that position and feel that connection of your foot through the ankle, through the knee, all the way up into the hip. And for 1 minute, this is where I start clients on. It's, hey, hold a lunge in the kitchen while you're cooking. Or, hey, drop into a flow after you brush your teeth. Let's just start developing that habit of awareness and daily movement because we come from so many past attempts at trying to get in shape. We try this thing and that thing. But really, if we could just start with these daily skills, that's something we can actually hold on to for the long run. And I argue that you'll actually see better results if you stick to just a few little things versus trying something and then kind of burning out and crashing and starting over like a lot of people do or hopping from thing to thing. So we could talk more about that, but it starts with those daily inputs, that daily awareness of your position.
I'm almost imagining myself I've gone through many iterations of I'm going to try Pilates, I'm going to
Yeah.
try yoga, and I buy a something, or I do a like, oh, I'm going to build up something, so I'm going to buy a quick DVD. It's never become habitual for me. What's the number one pitfall that you find when people are trying to improve their posture? Is it that lack of continuation? You talked about resilience, the consistency. What is the biggest pitfall when it comes to, not improving posture?
Yes, we're a byproduct of the time spent, like I'm saying, in these positions throughout the day. It's not just about trying to hop on something and get strong and build some muscle or get in shape for a 3 month period. It's about being embodied. That's what I believe. It's about reshaping how you interact with your environment all throughout the day. That's probably the best way I can put it. See yourself as a human being that is designed to move in a bunch of unique and different positions all the time, not the same positions every single day. That makes the body dull. So start becoming aware of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. What positions are you putting your body in? For example, if you're sitting in a chair for 3 hours, can you, at the end of the 3 hours, do the opposite of that? What's the opposite of that? Well, when you're sitting, what's happening? The knees are in front of the body. Okay. So at the end of 3 hours, I'm going to put one of my knees back behind me. We talk about a lunge. I'll talk about a lunge a lot because it's such a powerful movement that stretches out your hip. It gets your glute to turn on. It fires up these different muscles in our body. Holding that for as long as you can, like an isometric hold per side after sitting down for 3 hours will reset the body. It resets it. So now our life is our training. Our gym is our life. We can really see good results by just doing things like that if you make the movement very strong and intentional throughout the day. And the way you're sitting matters too, the position that you're sitting in. We're all different. So finding those positions that work for you. For example, too much for example, like stand up and then you push your hips forward. So your low back is an extension. That position right there is what would flare my back pain up personally. Now, bending and rounding would too. But at first, that's how I hurt my back. So I knew right away, I learned my body. I was like, okay, so extension at the lower spine will flare up my pain. Okay, great. So I know that if I push too far I'll feel some pain. Boom. So you're taking notes, you're learning your body, you're understanding what works for you, what doesn't, what causes pain, what doesn't. And with that information, you start to apply that to how are you sitting? How are you standing? How are you walking? How are you sleeping? How are you watching TV? How are you interacting on the computer? How are you standing at your desk, sitting at your desk? Are you kneeling at your desk? There's so many different ways to do it. So it's this information we gather and then applying it depending on our schedule, our lifestyle, our goals, and how you already know your body responds. And if you don't know, maybe you're not in any pain. Well, maybe you're really maybe. Well, I was 16. We were both in pain at a young age, so that doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be in pain if you're young. But no matter who you are, just know that over a long period of time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, your body's going to be a byproduct of the daily positions that you put it in. The daily positions, not that 1 hour at the gym per week. That's not going to save you long term. It's a daily ritual.
The last time that I hurt my back, I went to physio. They had me walk down the hallway, and just by walking down the hallway, they were able to identify the the question that got asked was, "Do you look up a lot?" And I was kind of surprised by it because I never had told them my job, but they were identifying that as a belaya, someone who's got someone on the end of the rope and they're climbing above me, that I tend to look upwards because I'm looking at where the climber is. And what it was doing to my back, it was just creating this kind of arched back. And I was counteracting some of the arch by putting my right leg forward. I had a leg back, and it was putting a lot of pain on one side of my hip. So I was kind of in this position, and I was finding I was in this position. It could be, and there's belayers who listen probably there for longer, but anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day in this position. And the the discomfort, the pain, not only to my neck, behind my shoulder blades, I was just experiencing a lot of discomfort. As I'm kind of relating what you've been talking about, finding the alternate positions, if I was to describe that to you, if I was a client coming into you and expressing those kind of discomforts, what can I do as a belaya to try to somewhat mitigate that? And obviously, maybe not being in that position for a long time, but what are you hearing when I'm talking about looking upwards, kind of one leg out, one leg behind, pressure on the hip? What are you identifying, and what could you help mitigate that?
Yeah, absolutely. So remember, we want to prepare our body for the demand of our sport. And sport doesn't have to just mean you're literally playing a sport. It could mean, I think all humans are athletes. And if you start to look at yourself as an athlete, no matter who you are, it's a more empowered way to look at your body. Now, for you, you're daily in a position that's requiring a lot. It's asking a lot of your body, right? And so the only question is, are you prepared? Is your body prepared for the demand of your sport? So is it prepared for the demand of your day? If it's not prepared, that's when injury occurs. That's when pain starts. And so it's simple. How can we prepare our body for what we're doing? And for you, it's not just, for example, I was talking about passively sitting and then dropping into a lunge because that's the opposite of that. But for you, this is an active, actual job. This is manual labor. And so it's a little bit different. How can we prepare you? How can you train your body to be able to handle that type of extension, to be able to handle that cervical neck extension, to be able to handle that low back, that middle back extension, that spinal extension? How can we be able to root your feet into the ground and feel stable through your ankles, knees, and hips to be able to bend backwards and look up like that? For you, it's like you would hop on a training plan. You would need to train to be able to handle that. And if you didn't, then yes, if you, let's say, only did that thing and then didn't train, didn't do any other movement, you only had that moment 4 to 6 hours a day where you looked back. Well, over a period of time, you would probably start to see some postural changes because you're constantly arching back all day. It makes sense, right? So if you didn't do anything else, then yes, I would probably, if I were you, decompress myself forward a little bit, round forward, or work on core strength, things in front of the body versus pulling back so much. But also you want to reinforce the position that you're doing of extension. So I would still train that as well and get that strong because your sport, your daily activity is demanding that. Your work is demanding that. But all in all, we want to prepare for the demand of the day. And so I would, if I were you, train. I would get into all these different positions. I would get strong in lunging. I would get strong in squatting, hinging. I would get strong in pulling. I would get strong in all these different postural patterns and movement patterns. And that's what I always look at is I don't train body parts like, hey, let's go train our triceps. I train by patterns of movement. Let's rotate our spine So let's train rotation. Let's train lateral flexion, which is bending to the side. So training the spine in every different direction, flexion, extension, forward, back, side to side, rotate, rotate. You can use weights, you can use body weight. So I would train holistically my body in all these different ranges of motion to better prepare myself for the demand of my day and of the activity that I predominantly find myself in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's much more proactive than reactive in terms of what our mind shift should be.
Yes.
Because I've heard many people like, okay, we'll just change, like, instead of right foot forward, change left foot forward. But what you're doing is in that position you would do is only then add strain on the other side that is also not trained, right? So that's not serving. If I feel a little bit of pain, just change in that position. It's about how do I prepare for that.
Absolutely. It's a mindset shift. It is because you're right. You can just maybe shift into the other side of your and stand differently and do that in all these different ways. And I post a lot of videos online of desk posture, sitting at the desk, and people are like, just move more, just move differently, just stand up and do a standing desk. Well, it's like, okay, when I go to the standing desk, I'm going to start to lean into my hip because I'm going to start to get tired after too long. And so that's not a position or posture I want to be in. And so you're right. It's not like in the moment reactive. It's preventative. It's preparing. Instead of rehabbing, we're prehabbing. Our life is now our prehab. We're preparing at each moment for the demand of our day and for the demand of our body. And really, it depends on what you want. Do you want to be able to do that work for a long time, or maybe you're just going to do it for the next couple of years? Well, maybe the goals change then. Maybe you're not so worried about that. So it depends on what you want. But if we're after optimizing the body and optimal health and making sure our posture and the positions we're in can just feel solid no matter what we're doing, then yes, we want to prepare ourselves in these different ways by training the body and becoming aware of the positions we're in all the time.
We talk about a shift. Sorry, I wonder. This is a deeper philosophical piece, but I'm here in the US. I live in the US. You're in the US. It feels like the medical system is very reactive instead of proactive. Is this something you're feeling like your role, the purpose of what you're doing is a reframe around that, trying to get far more proactive? Because I have. I not that I anticipated it, but as part of this conversation, I felt like, oh, maybe he'll just give me a quick fix. But this is not what I'm getting, and I'm not hoping for it. But I'm just saying, like, this is the conversation I think is necessary, because otherwise, what we do end up doing is just the quick fix, and a quick fix for pain could just be popping some medication in. But what you're suggesting is this has to be a holistic experience, and it has to be proactive rather than reactive, and that is societal. It feels societal to me.
Well, it's not a healthcare system. It's a sick care system. They treat the sick and they just want to get you to not feel sick, but they don't need, their job isn't to heal you. It's not what it is. That's not the system, at least the traditional model here in the West. And so absolutely, we take that same type of perspective and look at movement of the body. And it's why I post videos that can help just even the everyday person that works at a desk and knows nothing about movement at all or health. How can I get them to make a little subtle shift in the way they're sitting, and they're going to notice, oh, wow, I actually feel a little bit better. What else could I do to feel better? And then they start actually making some real change to their life to better themselves and feel better and actually get healthier and stronger. And so that is the person that I want to talk to, because yes, I may give them a quick fix in the moment, but it's not meant to be really a quick fix. It really is meant to give them a spark, something to be like, oh, wow, a little quick win, like I talked about earlier. How can I get a little quick win? And notice, hey, I just chose to do a little movement and I'm already noticing I'm feeling better. Man, what else could I do? I feel strong and powerful. You know what I mean? It's that empowered mindset where I get to choose and make decisions for my life and my health and my body. And it's not up to the random person that is telling me I should do this or do that. No, I get to choose based on, things I'm learning and how I'm feeling. And so that's the mindset shift I do want people to adopt, and I look to get across, is this empowered mindset of I get to choose and I can, through my own will, shift and heal and get stronger and feel better and feel empowered. That's the mindset I take.
And also it would suggest to me that, like, unlike other things that might require a ton of gear and all this stuff, from the quick fixes, or even, sorry, not the quick fixes, but the long-term gains that you may get from just changing posture in the moment, And as I look on the screen and see you doing stuff, I can see like,
I
right?
didn't even know I did that. It's something so habitual.
But like getting into that kind of stuff, those can already improve your day to day just by doing this. So you're not asking people to go out there and go, all right, you need to start getting a gym membership or you need to get building a home gym in order for some of these things to happen. Because that feels the resistant point of like, if I have to do if another accessing isn't just the medical system, but becomes financial, then that's
Yeah.
not helpful also, right? Like that can become sometimes a barrier. Is that also sometimes a part of your philosophy in terms of what can we do with what we've got? As you say, like thinking about positions in our body and lunges, you don't need much for those things to happen.
You don't need nothing. You don't need anything at all except the will to do it. And that in itself, for some people, is actually asking a lot. And I totally get that. I've been there too. No will to want to do anything because I was so hurt, so in pain, so sick. I've been through a lot with my health. And so I get it. And yes, I want to make it applicable, practical, simple. Like you can just do it. And that's why some of my videos are like really simple. Like, hey, literally interlace your fingers, put your hands behind your head, press your elbows back, and just breathe 5 times. That'll take you 20 seconds. And just like that, people are like, oh my God, I feel so much better. And it's not meant to be a quick fix. It's a quick win. It's a quick, like, hey, I just realized, like you're saying, it doesn't have to be complicated. I don't have to run to the gym. I don't have to start a calorie tracker. I don't have to do all these things we think we have to do to get healthier. The mainstream fitness and health advice has led us to believe. I'm of the belief that we can, with these small shifts in our awareness, start to make these healthier choices for ourselves that will, like you're saying, it snowballs. If I did that one movement where my hands are behind my head at the base of my neck, pressing my elbows out, for 20 seconds 3 times a day, if I stayed consistent to that for 2 weeks, I'm going to start to notice a difference in my posture. You know how I know that? It's because I've had people DM me all the time saying, wow, I've been doing that movement and I completely notice a difference. And I'm like, yes, because these small movements, what did we say at the beginning of this call? Your body responds, or I don't know if I said this exactly, but your body responds to the positions that you're putting it in, the daily inputs, the daily environment. This is a new environment of my choosing. Instead of just sitting here talking to you, if I interlace my fingers and now put my hands behind my head and hold this, I'm now in a new environment. My body has to adapt. It has to change physiologically. It has to now make adaptations. The muscles of my upper back are turning on. The muscles of my middle of my back are turning on. My rib cage is more open. So when I breathe in through my nose, I actually get a deeper breath because my diaphragm can really expand here. So that all these different things are happening by just switching the position of the body because I'm now demanding something new and different. So 20 seconds here, 20 seconds there, demanding something new, demanding something different. Your body will start to respond to that in a healthier way. One thing I love is short little calf bounces. So you stand without bending your knees and you hop up and down. You might see a lot of people doing things online where they say lymphatic drainage by hopping on a rebounder or something like that, or jumping up. I like to have my clients just simply use the earth, use the ground, hop up and down using your toes and your calves. It pumps blood through the body. It does move the lymphatic system, which aids in detoxification, which is great for energy. It's great for health. I have them do that in the morning or throughout the day with that 1 minute lunge or with the hands up behind the head. Now we're just dosing our body with healthy movement all throughout the day. And that will add up over a long period of time. And it doesn't require a membership. It doesn't require buying a program. It doesn't require long hours. It's very simple, and it gets you into that habit of someone who is aware daily, someone who takes care of themselves and wants to start prioritizing their health. And when you feel like, man, I have now more self-respect and love for myself, you're more likely to help someone else. And then now you get to help your family member and it starts to spread. The feel good movement starts to spread. That's what I like to call it.
You've demonstrated two potential things. One is, I would say, a more static stretch, and then the other one is more of an active movement.
Yeah.
What's the balance between static and active? Because I'm even considering, like, if I is as someone who's standing there with in a position, most of the time I'm just holding that position, and obviously that holding a singular position for a long period of time can't be that helpful. So maybe it's like changing between the static to the active, changing the part of the body. What's some thoughts on that?
Yeah. So when you're in that one position for a long time, any position is creating tension in the body. So one thing I would say before anything else is practice actively relaxing your body in the position before even trying to move. because when you actively relax your body, that can help you release tension. And when we release tension, we can feel less stress, we can feel less fatigue, we can feel a bit more energy, a bit more feelings of, wow, this is actually getting easier on my body. It feels like it's a little bit easier. So just that feeling right there is very beneficial. So what I like to do also to practice this relaxation before trying to take it to, your daily posture that you're in for 4 to 6 hours is lying down flat on my back on the ground on a hard surface. Close your eyes, palms out, arms at your side, legs a little bit spread, and then feel your hand and see if you can just relax it. Don't move it. Just put the intention in your mind to relax your hand. Put the intention in your mind to relax your left hand and scan your whole body. It's like a little body scan meditation and just relaxing each part of the body. Take your awareness to your kneecap. Relax your kneecap. Just starting to get in the body. Because when we get in the body, we're getting actually out of the thinking mind. We're more in that subconscious mind. We're more in that part of our body that runs automatically without us thinking. And so when you're in the body, you're feeling the body, the space around your body, and you're feeling the different parts and learning how to relax them, you could take that to your daily life. And then in this position that you're in at work, you can feel more relaxed and like it's actually easier to do the movement at hand. And because it's relaxed doesn't mean you're getting tired on the job or anything. No, actually the opposite. When we find we're relaxed, but also very alert, that's when we're in that flow state. That's when things feel easy. So practice before bed. It can help you wind down for sleep. Body scan meditation. I do this all the time and learn how to actively just relax the body and relax your muscles. So that right there. And of course, you can do an inhale for 3, exhale for 6. If you make your exhale a little bit longer, that too can relax our body, get us into that rest and digest mode, parasympathetic. But really, I would start there with my day-to-day work, relaxing in the positions. Big inhale through the nose, exhale, let it out, relax. Boom, start there. Now, from there, now that we're more relaxed, we can try, yes, these static positions, isometric positions we talk about. Great. Also dynamic. Also, so 3 things I like to have everyone train is strength, mobility, and agility. Those 3 things. So strength, so we don't feel weak, obviously. Mobility, so we don't feel stiff. And agility, so we don't feel slow. People miss that third one. They don't train their agility. We don't want to be stiff, weak, or slow. So we train all 3. So those calf bounces, that's your springiness. That's your fast twitch muscle. Train that so you stay quick and receptive. And then mobility, for example, all throughout the day, you hug yourself. So show yourself a big bear hug and you can round forward. You can flex back, you can bend to the side, you can bend to the other side. So now we're mobilizing our spine. For example, that's one movement. And then yes, holding a lunge can be for our strength. That's another movement. So getting those each style of training so you can create the best possible results for yourself. Did I answer the question?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
So, and I love the variety because this is something that like I think is often missed as we've discussed. You're the not being slow, like that is something that I consider as I'm getting older, like as my body moves, like how do I react? Fast twitch fibers in terms of like that speed is really helpful. And so all of these kind of contribute and they overlap with each other and form the human body as we want it to be. There's sort of like the joke of like, my body is just to carry this brain around with me. But obviously like I want to be using my body as much as I possibly can. And for many people listening, you want that to be for as long as possible in any, especially when there's careers that are physically minded. A lot of the job that I do and people who are doing similar to me, there's a physical requirement to it. I've actually had some people come through training who haven't been able to do some of the things I've asked them to do because physically they have been unable to do it due to a lack of overall fitness. Maybe they're carrying too much weight. Maybe they don't have the flexibility to be able to reach and grab in some of the positions that I know that is necessary to do the role. So I'm always considering how might I guide my participants in terms of that longevity rather than just teaching them a skill, which is like, this is how to do this action, this is how to tie a knot, all those things. But I want to start to be able to build into the stuff I'm teaching? How do I maintain the physicality? Because I think that that's something that's really important. You've been through so many already, and you've covered a lot of different examples for positions that we can be in. I wonder if we can wrap this for those who are listening, maybe guide us through and we can all do this together. One of your quick wins as people are sitting here and listening, like what's something we can do really quick together, and just to remind ourselves of what is possible. And then I'll throw it back to you to tell us where we can find more.
Absolutely. So let's do one even people that potentially are driving could do. Don't move your hands off the wheel. Let's be careful here. But really, all we need to do is instead of trying to sit up super tall and jam our shoulders back, because that's a lot of our gut reaction when it comes to fixing our
Do
posture.
that.
Yeah, we're told to since we're a little kid, grandma's smacking you on the back of the neck saying, sit up straight. We can get away from that type of rigid, intense position and replace it with a simple shrug your shoulders up, down, and back. Very gently. One more time. You shrug your shoulders forward, up, down, and back. So we're doing shoulder circles. And even with the hands on the steering wheel, I do this all the time. Be careful, but really we can shrug up, down, and back. And then just sit, relax into that position. And you'll notice your spine. You'll notice the shoulders actually kind of glue back onto the back side of the body a little easy, a little, like it feels like a little less effort than just trying to press back. Okay. So one more time, we're going to go forward, up, down, and relax. Do you feel that?
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
And it is remarkably different than even as I pull back to go to that position. It's nowhere near as far back.
Nowhere near as far back. And that's another issue is we're told these like sit up straight, these universal things that are not right for our body. If we sit, a lot of people, when they try to sit up straight, like you're saying, they jam those shoulders back and now your rib cage is pulled forward and now you're in a whole mess of a different alignment. Okay. Number two is now that our shoulders are in that good position, and please only do this if you're in a safe area, not driving. You can interlace your fingers like we talked about earlier. You can place your hands behind the head and then you can press your elbows out as far as you can. Good. And then we're going to gently tuck our head into our hand. So gently tuck your chin back so your head is pressed into your hand a little bit, not too hard. Good. Now from this position, I want you to really feel like you're going to take a big deep breath in, but not just a normal deep breath. It's a deep breath where I want you to expand the part underneath your armpits, the size of your ribs. Really breathe in deep. Ready? And exhale through the nose. Big deep breath into the nose. Exhale slow through the nose. Press those elbows back. Press those elbows back. Good. Relax your shoulders down. Relax your shoulders down. Good. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Feel your rib cage expand. Big deep breath. Exhale through the nose. Press those elbows back and relax your arms now down by your side. Now notice how you feel.
Yep, definitely a relaxation on the shoulders. I felt an immediate like a tingly sensation in the hands, but it was just like blood flow probably returning. But
Sure.
yeah, much more relaxed in terms of the
Excellent.
chest. Yeah.
Good. Now, since we're sitting here, let's do a third one. Let's do that movement where we hug ourselves like this. So bear hug yourself. So big hug. Good. Show yourself some love. Shrug your shoulders down. Relax. Good. Tuck the chin in a little bit. Now, all we're going to do is roll forward slightly. So actually, I do want you to slouch. I know, right? Slouch. So slouch forward. Now from this position, your upper back should be rounded forward. Take a big deep breath in through the nose and then exhale through the nose. Now arch back. So we just went into flexion of the spine and now we're going to go into extension of the spine. So as you arch back, don't let your chin go high. Keep your chin down low to keep your neck aligned. Now, big inhale as we're arched back, big exhale. And I want you to feel your ribs ballooning up. So where your hands are on your body, your hands, you should feel your breath pushing into your hands and like your balloon expanding. That's what we want in these different positions, is those ribs to expand. Good. Now we're going to side bend and take a big deep inhale. And so with each inhale, it's as if I'm in, so big exhale, good. Other side. For example, when you're at the desk all day, you're doing whatever you're doing, you're breathing, you're just normally breathing. Now I'm getting my body into a position it doesn't normally get in, and then I'm breathing in that position. So it's just going to start to expand these different tissues all around the body. Good. Back to the center. Now we're going to twist to the left. Inhale through the nose. Good. Exhale. We don't ask our body to twist and look behind anymore because we have those rear view cameras now in all the cars. So it's really important to twist and rotate the body. Rotate to one side and big inhale. All athletes, all athletic endeavors require rotation at a high capacity. Exhale. Good. And relax. Notice how you feel.
Wow. Already as well, I feel lower back relaxation just from the twisting. And I agree with what you're saying. When I could feel the rib cage expand as I breathed in, that was a unique experience where I'm not feeling kind of that outward pressing of the rib cage along the sides of my body. This is where like we have intercostals, right? Intercostals, abdominals. So there's some stretching going there, and they're muscular as well as in the organs.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the best things you can do for your body is getting that big expansion of the ribs, not just in the front, not just in the side, but in the back. One of the best things that helped me for my back pain was getting that 300, learning how to breathe 360 degrees around my stomach, around the rib cage, instead of just in the forward or just in that base of the neck, top of the chest, where a lot of people are breathing. That's fight or flight. That's stress. If we can get that breath to go a little bit lower, but not just belly breathing, everyone's really big on that, which is fine, but it's that backside of the body breathing. Can I trace, like right now, put your thumbs on your lower back. See if you can take an inhale and feel that air pushing into your thumbs. Ready? And maybe at first you don't notice it at all. Wherever you're at is totally fine. But over time, I want you to be able to place your thumbs on your back and feel and breathe into wherever you're putting your thumbs. That is control of the breath. And that will help relax the organs, relax the muscles, relax the tension off the body, allow for better digestion, but also it'll release some of that stiffness in our back and it can really help with pain.
Well, thank you, Elijah. This particular last end is the part that we drifted from the podcast to the audience to also being a little bit of a moment for me. So I appreciate you doing that. And I would love to have kept this going, but I will wrap this at this time in this bow. So we talked holistically. We've talked about the proactive instead of reactive. If people listening to this want to learn more and become a little bit more proactive, how can they find out information about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Social media, Instagram is Eli dot James, James, and Coach Eli on TikTok. And then on YouTube, it is Embody with Elijah. So Embody with Elijah, but also Coach Eli. You can probably find me if you search Coach Eli just generally on Google or something. I'll pop up. But I do want to say one more thing, if that's okay.
Please.
I really want to leave the viewers with something they can really, do and not just listen and think about. And yes, I know we just ended with great 3 movements, but also really think about how you're sleeping, the mattress you're sleeping on, the chairs you're sitting in. I didn't get to talk too much. I wanted to say this earlier, but the surfaces you're exposing your body to is so important. And over time, can you transition to a firmer surface, a firmer mattress? Can you sit on the floor a little bit more? Those right there, the shoes you're walking in, can they start to be a little bit more wide at the toe box, a little bit more flat at the bottom, a little bit more? We want to just start feeling these firmer surfaces in our life because the body responds so well to firmer, because when it's firmer, the body has to, you're demanding more. When it's softer, you get to sink into it. When it's firmer, you're demanding that your body adapt. And so in a healthy way. And so looking at that, going into a firmer surface is absolutely excellent. And this also, you can find me, my app, Embody. So Embody Move Well Daily. That is my daily movement, posture, strength, and mobility app that you can download in the App Store. Embody Move Well Daily. My website is embodydaily.com.
Thank you, Elijah. And I would just want to add, as you were saying this, I've been talking to people and I've seen so many more, and this isn't to put shade on an individual company, but I've seen Hoka sneakers because of the incredible padding that they've got. And that's almost the antithesis of what you're suggesting, rather than wearing extra padding to be outside, because it's like, oh, I stand outside and I see what people wearing Hokas. And I've had this sort of like, oh, maybe I need to get Hoka. My challenge to people listening and my challenge to myself, and thank you for this, is I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to go for wider toe box, flatter sole, rather than cushioned sole in terms of what will help me in the long term. So,
Yes.
which once again is that proactive versus reactive. So,
Yes.
thank you so much, Elijah. I have really appreciated this. This has been a completely new lens for me to think about with the work that I do. And I hope people value this who are listening and can start to have this preparation of the body versus reaction of the body after the fact, especially if you're new in this industry. Please make sure you take advice from this. If you have been in the industry a while and you're struggling with some body issues related to the work, then there is some fix for this. It just has to be an holistic practice that happens over time repetitively. Uh, Thank you so much, Elijah. This has been a real treat.
Thanks so much, Phil. Absolutely honored.